I'm speaking to the Avatar breath-holding champion. I've spoken to all the cast, and everyone has a slight competitive edge when it comes to having held their breath. You got to 7 minutes.
And 14 seconds.
I apologise.
It's quite important that, because if you were to hold your breath now for 14 seconds, you'd realise that actually 14 is kind of a big deal.
Well, I held my breath for 6.5 minutes, so not as good as Kate, but pretty fine for me. I was very surprised. We had a great teacher. You know, Kurt Crack teaches the Navy SEALs, so Jim, you know, is like a water creature. But he knew that he had to make sure his actors felt completely at home in the water and completely safe. We were training for 18 months, a full year before we ever started shooting in the tank. And I think you can really tell looking at the movie that we're comfortable in that element and that we are water creatures. And that really comes from, he didn't want us to feel unsafe and he wanted us to feel like this was our world.
Well, nobody was competing.
Okay.
But no, it never felt like a competition. I just feel like it was a challenge that we were each accepting of ourselves, for ourselves, day after day. Once you trust the process, once you did your training and you use all of your tools and you surrender to the reality that your life throughout this take that Jim is gonna do is in everybody else's hands, all you gotta focus on is your scene and your moment. And then as you're reaching the surface, and then they tell you, kiddo, you did 5.5 minutes. I did? You know, you kind of psych yourself. But then you hear, but Kate did 7. I'm like, oh.
It's interesting. I mean, I do fine. I can do on static hold. I know I can do kind of, 4 minutes standing on my head and probably 6 minutes. I think I've done. But to be perfectly honest, I never kept a record on it for myself because I don't feel particularly competitive in that area. I'm quite competitive in other areas, but not in that area at all.
6 minutes and 30 seconds was my record.
Wow.
On 50% oxygen. I always want to give all the details because there's only 20% oxygen in the air that we breathe.
And Jamie, how high did you get?
5 minutes 30, but at a depth of 30 feet.
Which does, because your lungs do
Your lungs do a bit of that.
decrease.
Yeah.
You guys had a swimming test, right?
Well, I think Bailey had to actually swim in the water as part of the audition. I just had to say that I could swim. I guess I'm glad that Jim trusted me.
Tick a box, I will not drown.
I promise I won't.
I promise I won't drown. I know how to swim.
If you want to live here, you have to ride.
Just breathe.
Let's do it.